Okay, so today we're going to talk about domain and range of quadratic functions. Remember, a quadratic function can be written in the form y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And this is what the graph looks like. And this graph is called a parabola. So when we look, we know that domain deals with x, while range deals with y. So if we look at this graph here, notice how there are arrows at the ends here, which implies that not only is it going to go up, but it's also going right this way. And then not only is the graph going to go up here, it's going left. What does that mean? It means that the domain is all real numbers for quadratic functions, as long as they have these arrows at the end. All right, and then the range is what we really need to pay attention to. Notice how the range is not going to be all real numbers for quadratic functions. We have to start with the vertex. So notice here how we have the vertex right here at the point -3, -5. Okay? Now, we need to pay attention to the y coordinate in particular, which is -5. All right, so that's our lowest point. All right, so this would be like a minimum. This is what we're going to write. This is a minimum. Minimum. This is a minimum value here. And all other y values is above this -5. Therefore, we say the range is y is greater than or equal to -5. Okay? And it's going to be like this with every quadratic function. So, for instance, let's say we have this graph here. We see arrows here at the ends, which implies that it's going to continue to go down, but also right. And this is going to continue to go down, but also left. Therefore, when we write our domain, right, which deals with x, that's all real numbers. But what we need to pay attention to is the range, which is y. And remember, we started our vertex. That's our highest or lowest point. Since this is a downward parabola, we're looking at our highest point here. All right, we see our x is 2. We're counting by 2's here. So our x is 2, and then our y is in between 14 and 16, so it's 15. And this is called our maximum value, okay? This is called a maximum value, okay? Now, since this is our maximum value and all other y values are below this point, we're going to say our range is all y values that are less than or equal to our max value of 15. And we're done with finding the domain and range for this example. All right. So what happens if we have something like this? Notice how we do not see arrows at the end. What does that mean? Our domain is not all real numbers here. But whenever we see arrows, we do know that our domain would be all real numbers. So here, for our domain, we have to go between, on our x-axis, 2 and 18. So we're going to do 2, 18, x in the middle, and then let's not forget, this doesn't show whether it's open or closed, so we're going to assume closed, so it's less than or equal to. Right? So all that means is that our domain x is in between 2 and 18. Now, what about our range? Remember, with our range y, we need to look at this graph to the highest point, since it's pointing downward. And this is the highest point right here. Now, our x coordinate is 10. Our y coordinate is in between 18 and 20, so 19. And all other y values is below 19. Therefore, below means less than or equal to. So we can have y is less than or equal to our maximum value of 19, and we're done with the domain and range. Hopefully you're getting the hang of this. All right, now look at this. We see arrows, right? So I want you to go ahead and write what you see you would say the domain is. All real numbers. Now here, when we talk about the range, take a moment, press pause, find the range. Remember, we have to go to the vertex, so we come here and put our little point. And what is that point? Well, our x is -10 and our y is -6. Since all y values is above -6, above means greater than or equal to, so y is greater than or equal to -6 is the range. So what happens if we have something like this and we want to find the domain and range? Take a moment, press pause, and do it yourself. Now when we look at the domain, notice how we start right here and we end here for domain because we're on the x-axis. That means 0 to 60. So the domain x is in between 0 and 60. Now what about the range? Don't forget, we have to start here at the vertex. And since all y values are below this point, we know that we have y that's going to be less than or equal to 60. But we don't go any further than this 0 line right here. So actually, our range is going to be between 0 and I said 60, but I meant 70, guys. I apologize for that. All right. So our range y is in between 0 and 70. Now I need to go back up here to make sure that I didn't make a mistake, and it looks like I did. Since we start right here, when we talk about the range, it's important that I not just say y is less than or equal to 19. I need to go back here and do a correction. It's not just less than or equal to 19. It has to also be greater than 0. So we have to say our range is in between 0 and 19 since the graph starts right here. Okay. So this is the range. That is the correction I wanted to make. I do apologize. All right, and we want to make sure we didn't make mistakes anywhere else. Nope. Hopefully that didn't mess you up too bad. Just note that if it's not an arrow and it's something like this, then we have to, there's a limit on our range. All right, now I want you to try this on your own. And try this one on your own. And we'll go through it in class. All right, thanks guys, and have a good one.